Andrew Watson. He was a black man playing in the 1800s. It's amazing to think that he was a trailblazer for black people. So fascinating to find out more about his life.
If you were to ask me the top 5 teams of the 19th century, he played for 3 of them. He joins Queen's Park, he wins the Scottish Cup 3 times. Winning it first time in 1881, that makes him the world's first black footballer to win a national trophy. He then goes on to play international football, so he's the first black international football player in the world. He also was chosen as captain, making his debut for Scotland in that match, so he's the world's first black international football captain. He then heads to London and he makes his debut in the FA Cup with the Swifts, so he's the first black footballer to play in the FA Cup. So he's a huge star, not just of Scottish football, but actually of football across the UK. Everybody knew who he was. You could look at particularly iconic black football players of the 20th century, and there are great players like Pelé. Within the 19th century context, Watson should be at that level.
I didn't know about Andrew in the late 80s because he was lost to history until Jed and his team rediscovered him in 1992.
I'm looking at this photo from the early 1880s of the Queen's Park team, and at the back I'm thinking, that's a black footballer. I knew that Arthur Wharton of Preston North End was the world's first black footballer, so I'm telling myself I'm not seeing what I'm seeing. I started trying to prove that this was who he was. And if ever a man was confident in himself, it's this picture here.
It's an amazing picture, very confident looking man, very relaxed.
This is him at the height of his fame and his brilliance, and he knows who he is.
But if I had to deal with such racism in the 1980s, how was it a black man was able to captain Scotland in the 1880s? Where did he get his obvious confidence from?
The first major club, I suppose, in Glasgow that he plays for is a team called Park Grove. He's captain of the team. He's also match secretary. He's running the show. You know, he's doing everything.
The amazing thing about the Park Grove team was that they had Andrew Watson playing for them, who was black. They had Robert Walker playing, who was black. They had a goalkeeper, Tommy Martin, who was half Chinese. And for good measure, they had a Welshman thrown in. But that one football team was more ethnically diverse in the 1870s than the whole of Scottish football in the 1970s.
Yeah, absolutely. Park Grove striker Robert Walker was born in Sierra Leone to a Scottish father and a local mother. He was raised in Dumfries and became a pioneering black footballer in Glasgow before even Andrew.
He was a player as well. This is what's exciting. He played in the Scottish Cup final in 1876. He's the first black footballer to play in a National Cup final.
Yeah.
He was that good. Watson was just that level, maybe higher.
With incredible similarities between their lives, it's fascinating to think they found each other at Park Grove.
Andrew Watson had the world's first multi-ethnic football team. This cannot have been an accident.
Here's another example of a black football playing at the very, very beginnings of the development of the modern game. And that's the thing, you know, this is going back to the 1870s. You know, these players were there at the very beginning, shaping the game.
It's such an